Hey Chris,
You're
Tom
right.
for Boxing Social.
Sorry, Tom. Sorry, boxing
Alright.
social. Man.
That's
You've, alright, man. You've often said that you want the fight with Jay Opataya, and that could be next. How important is it that you don't look past your opponent this weekend?
Yeah, it's super important. You know, there's been many people boxers in my situation in the past where they've got a fight that or an opponent, and a fight just before a world title, and they take their eye off the ball and they get through it, maybe even with a win, but they don't look that great, and then it all comes tumbling down after that. So it's important not just to win and not overlook this opponent on December 17th, but also to look good doing it. So that's very much what I'm focused on at the moment, is performing, to the best of my ability and keep doing a really good job.
What do you know of your opponent, Arman Zherzhai, if I'm saying that correctly? You've gone the distance in your last 4 fights. He's been knocked out twice. Is this a chance for you to show your power and maybe get a stoppage?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, the last one went 12 rounds with me. But yeah, for me, it's about making a statement. Obviously, he got stopped by Masternek, who's a world level contender. He's been there and thereabouts for years. He's got more knockouts than I've had fights, nearly double, I think. So for me, it's about making a statement and doing as good, or if not a better job than he did. And but that all comes from performing and not just going out there looking to just sort of take shots just to land shots. It's about looking good doing it, and looking classy throughout.
Finally, after trying for a headline fight in your hometown for years, you've managed to get 2 in 6 months. How good will it feel to box in Bournemouth once again?
Yeah, amazing. I mean, if you were there, if anyone was there last time, it was an incredible atmosphere. The fans are superb, so it's I owe it to them why we're back there. It's all down to them while we're back there, because they showed up and put on an unbelievable atmosphere and a great night for everyone.
Nice one. Cheers, mate.
Thank you, Tom.
Hi, Chris. It's Josh from Seconds Out. You were talking there about fighting down Bournemouth. You've done it a couple of times over the last 6 months or so. Would there be any opportunity to fight at the football stadium at any point? Is that a goal?
Yeah, I mean, that's the dream for me, and that's obviously what we'll be looking at after this one. If I can get a great performance this time, look good, and we can get a world champion over, then why not do it? Towards the end of May, early June in the Dean Court. That for me would be a dream. I know that the club are on board with it, and but it all comes down to December 17th and putting on a good display, and then pushing towards that world title fight and getting that there.
Is it all about building towards that world title now? You seem just 1 or 2 steps away. Does it feel like it's on the horizon?
Yeah, absolutely. It's names getting chucked about with all these world champions now. I'm highly ranked with all the governing bodies. I've been mixing it with, around European level and domestic fights and exciting fights, especially this year, obviously with Tommy and against Isaac, which are two good fights. So yeah, for me, it's all about that now and just pushing on.
Is there a preferred route for yourself?
No, I think obviously Opataya and Makabu are probably the, outside of Lawrence, obviously, who's a friend of mine. I think they're the bigger names. I think Makabu is obviously, there's been spoke about with Richard fighting him. But I get a chance to fight for a world title, and that's what it's about for me. And Opataya's gone and beat the man, who Breedis, who was the man at that stage. So if it's him next, and then so be it. And that's a great opportunity for me to prove my worth in the boxing world and cruiserweight division. And that's what the sport's about for me, is about boxing the best. And obviously he's number 1 at the moment.
Perfect. Cheers, Chris.
Cheers, Josh.
Hi, Chris. Ra Hogan here. Just wondering, how do you stay motivated, given that you've been fighting progressively better opponents? A lot of these domestic rivals are arguably at least fringe world level themselves. When the world title picture actually looks pretty crowded, obviously your stablemate Lawrence, he's got the Aussie David Light, I believe, ordered. I think another Aussie, Waitley and Masternak, are ordered to fight a final eliminator for Opataya. So that's at least another year away to get a route in there. Yeah, I mean, how can you stay motivated sort of just fighting these sort of mid-tier guys who aren't sort of anywhere near to that level that you want to be at?
Well, this is without these fights, I'm just inactive. We could have waited around and potentially boxed Stoppage next year, because obviously he's out with an injury, and I don't think his mandatory is going to be called straight away. So I think, it's about staying busy for me and staying active and keeping improving. And there's no next fight if I don't perform in this fight. So every fight for me and every camp for me is just a chance to improve and to keep getting better. And that's what it's about. The way I deal with things isn't about just fight by fight. It's camp by camp and improving all the time. Never the finished article, and I'm far from it, and I'm aware of that. So I'm just about learning all the time, and that's what I just look and focus on every day.
Hi, Chris. It's Oscar from Buzz News.
Hi, Oscar.
Hi. We all know that you've stayed active over the past year. Do you feel this has improved yourself as a fighter, and will this continue, do you think?
Yeah, hopefully we can stay active. I think there's an age-old saying in boxing where, an active fighter is a happy fighter. And I think but also the manner of the fights I'm having, obviously, with everything that's gone on, we've even when Turchi pulled out, we got Rejon in to fight, or after the first McCarthy fight, then we had the rematch with Tony McCarthy, which is obviously a big fight, and then the Isaac Chamberlain fight, which is another big fight. So yeah, it's the progressions through the opponents and through the camps are important, and that's staying busy is important, and I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying all the challenges that come in my way, and yeah, it's a long way to continue.
And you've been training with Shane McGuigan, who's trained, loads of world champions in combat sports. How well has he been impacting your training?
Yeah, Shane my whole pro career. He's been pivotal and monumental in my progression. I've been in a gym without, probably the least experience in the gym from an amateur, moved into a gym full of world-class fighters, which I was very fortunate to have that opportunity. Very grateful to Shane and the whole McGuigan family. And yeah, I've just lapped up that opportunity. I've stayed in the gym as much as I can. I've very rarely had a long period out of the gym, and just keep trying to keep improving. But yeah, Shane has been obviously monumental, and without Shane, I wouldn't be where I am today. So I'm very grateful for that.
Brilliant. Cheers, Chris.
Cheers, Oscar.
Chris, how you doing, mate? Hope you're all
Hello,
good. Am I right? This is another one-fight deal with Boxer?
No, it's a 2-fight deal.
All right, okay. I was going to say your dream was always to fight in Bournemouth, and obviously Ben's gifted you like 2 shows in Bournemouth. Are you looking to kind of have a long-term future plan with Boxer, seeing as you're quite your potential good few fights away from getting a world title shot?
Yeah, I mean, I'm very, very grateful to Boxer and Sky Sports for putting a show on in Bournemouth back in July, and then give me an opportunity to go back there again. Obviously, we campaigned for it for a few years, and it didn't come off, and they've managed to pull it off. So we knew it would work, and I think other people were scared to try it, but obviously the atmosphere and everything from around the last fight was just absolutely huge, and all the reviews we got of the show were just amazing. So I knew it would work, and I'm very grateful to the fans for making it work, but also for the opportunity from Boxer and Sky Sports.
Have you got any views and opinions on the current situation with Lawrence and Coley and your ex-promoter Eddie Hearn? The latest, obviously, as we heard earlier, Lawrence has now got a fight that's up for first bids. Yeah,
all I know about Lawrence is that he's been obviously ordered to fight David Light, the Aussie guy. Not sure when that is, but that's literally all I know. I don't know anything else that's going on with Lawrence and Eddie.
Good man, Chris. Appreciate your time.
Cheers, mate.
Hi, Chris. Bishop Yomini for moreonsports.com.
Hi, mate.
You said every camp is in need to keep getting better and improving. So how far off the best version of yourself do you feel you are right now?
To be honest, it's a hard question to answer because you never know. Maybe you never reach your people never reach their full potential because there's always room for improvement. I know it's a bit of a cliche, but you know, I'm the best version I've been now, and I'll keep improving. Probably until my career's over, because as soon as I stop improving, I think that's when I'll have to call it a day, to be honest with you, mate.
Yeah, and how do you feel this camp has gone for you? Have you had any specific sparring for this opponent?
Yeah, I mean, I've had it's been a better camp than the last one. The last camp was about 5 weeks before we hit fight week, so it's been a much longer camp, much more enjoyable. And I've been sparring an older amateur opponent of mine, a guy called Sharif Musa, who's, you know, stocky, big puncher, comes forward. Been sparring him. Been sparred Chev Clark, who's similar, because they're both similar to that style of my opponent. He sort of comes forward. He's got good right hand. And both of them have got exactly the same as well. So yeah, we've had those guys in, and also had Craig Richards in as well. I was helping him out, obviously, with before his fight got called off as well.
And what did you think of Chev Clark's performance the other week?
Yeah, really good. You know, I've felt a few of those uppercuts in sparring. He's a very, very powerful guy. Shared the ring with him as an amateur, and we had some great rounds sparring. So I thought it was a good performance.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Just to remind you as well that Chris's trainer, Shane McGuigan, is also on the line if anyone has any questions for Shane.
Hi Shane, Tom from Boxing Social. Just wondered if you had any comment on recent news surrounding Kevin Lorena, who's lodged a complaint after the Dubois fight.
Yeah, not. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Not a lot really, to be honest. It's hard for me to say, because at the end of the fight, he felt like he was beaten. He knew, obviously, he walked into a great shot and he got finished. But it was at the end of the round, and obviously people are saying that, you know, the bell was rang like 7 or 8 seconds early on the first round as well. So no, I don't really have much of a comment. What I will say is that the 3 knockdown rule is not in effect in the UK. It's hasn't been in effect in the UK in the last God knows how many years, ever since I've been going to rules meetings. So it was one of the things that come up in the rules meeting. I stipulated that it isn't in effect. Yeah, glad that Dan got through that first round, but at the same time, you know, it wasn't his best round. It was heart in the mouth sort of stuff for me. But like, if Kevin Lorena had got you know, a 60-second rest, he still would have, you know, been finished, in my opinion. He was badly hurt. If you look at Dan Dubois, he got hit with 1 shot. The next 2 knockdowns weren't knockdowns. He took a knee. His leg wasn't working for him. You know, he's got his knees really swollen out now. He's gone for a few scans. We still haven't got a full report back, but it looks like it could be a ligament damage. So the next 2 shots weren't really in play, like they didn't really hurt him or anything, whereas Kevin Lorena got hit with about 8 unanswered punches, and he was out on his feet. So it was a big difference. But if Rodney Burney wants to lodge a complaint, then so be it. I'm sure the WBA and the BBSC will rule fairly.
As well as the complaint, Lorena's also said that he wants a rematch. Is that something that you and Daniel would be willing to give him, or have you moved on from Lorena now?
I mean, yeah, of course he can get a rematch. I mean, I feel like it's down to Frank Warren, the promoter, and you know, and then the TV networks, really. I mean, like, it was a good shot that he got caught with. He definitely wasn't expecting it. I've never seen Daniel hurt, but he recovered well. He knew exactly what shot it was that landed, and I just believe if he boxes him again, I think he'll knock him out in a couple of rounds. I mean, it took him 3 rounds with one leg. You know what I mean? So what would it be like if he had, if he hadn't got dropped in the first? I don't think he'll get the success like he got in that first fight if they ever boxed again.
Finally, the cruiserweight division is a good one at the moment. Where do you believe BILLAM Smith ranks amongst his fellow Brits like Riakporhe and Okola?
Yes, I mean, like, obviously been working with Okola for a good few years, and that I feel like styles make fights, and I think that Chris has the style to beat Gullamar, and he's got the style to beat Jay Optea, and I think I think he's got the style to beat most of them. Richard Riakporhe, for instance, hasn't boxed at world level yet. He's got a good win, a split decision win over Chris. I feel like Chris nicked it, but once again, they've both got more experience since then. And but I think the level of competition that Chris has been at recently is higher. He's getting more momentum, and he's learning all the time. And I think that those two are on a good path. I feel like Lawrence, obviously being world champion, you can't discredit that. He's already got there, so they're there or thereabouts, all of them.
Nice one. Cheers, mate.
Cheers, mate.
Hi, Shane. Josh from Seconds Out. Just a couple more on Daniel. When did the injury exactly occur in the fight, and sort of how is he now? Is he in good spirits?
Yeah, he's in good spirits. He hyperextended his knee. I feel like I've watched it, I've slowed it down, and you can see, like, when he got hit on the top of the head, he went to put his heel down, and he hyperextended his knee. So 17.5 stone going through a knee like that is never a good sign, but it immediately swelled up. We don't know the severity of the injury yet. Physio has done some strength tests and put it in certain positions, and it's definitely got weakness in areas, but whether that's a tear or anything like that, I'm not too sure. We're still waiting on the MRI results, so and a specialist to kind of review it. But yeah, I mean, it happened straight away as soon as what was it, probably about a minute left of the first round, maybe a minute, just a bit more, so instantly his knee was gone.
Ligament injuries can sort of be long-term things. I know you've said you don't really know the severity of it at the moment. Is there any concern it could be a long-standing one and we won't see Daniel in the ring for a little bit?
No, not. I'm not too sure on that, to be honest. I mean, we've got a really good bunch of people that would be able to rehab it. We've got Kevin Lidlow, who's going to be reviewing it at the moment. We've got Ben Caraway as well, who we work with, two very good like specialists, as it were. So of course, ligaments are harder to repair because there's not blood flow to them, but you can build up the knee, you can build up the VMO and the little minor muscles around the knee to kind of give it stability. So I don't see it being a long layoff. No.
Okay. Cheers, Shane. Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you.
Shane, just on that fight, just got one question for you in regards to the Dubois win. Carl Frampton made some comments saying that you didn't have.
You're always after a headline. You're always after a headline. No comment. No comment. Okay. I feel like certain people have an agenda, and at the end of the day, that's as far as it goes.
Okay, fair enough. And a question on Chris. You've said a few times that Adam Azimi is the best fighter that you've ever trained. Where do you rank Chris BILLAM Smith with all the fighters that you've trained over the years?
A true professional, someone that's maximized every aspect of his game, and that we can't underplay his talent. He's at free, he's about to fight for a world title, so you can't get there with no talent. He's got plenty of talent. He's got great guts and determination and grit, and he's got a good ability to listen, and he's very coachable. So he's probably been one of my best students over the time I've been in as a coach. So and we've brushed up on certain aspects of his game. He's always had a great jab. We taught him how to fight in close, and he's really taken to that well. Sometimes he likes to fight too much on the inside, but now it's at the stage where he's learned how to fight at distance. He can fight on the inside, but it's what I was really impressed with the last one is how he managed the rounds. Against the Riakporhe fight, he wasn't managing the rounds well. He was blowing out and he was putting too much into a specific round, and then you would go to sleep for the next one or two, and he was giving rounds away. Whereas now he's just got that experience, and yeah, I mean, I believe he'll be a world champion.
Thank you for that. And your headline.
Hi Shane, it's Oscar from Buzz News.
How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. This will be Chris's 18th professional bout. How different stylistically is Armand compared to Chris's other fights?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a very fast right hand. He's a decent puncher. He hurt Masterneck, and Masterneck, had been in there with the likes of Tony Bellew, big punchers as well. So he's obviously got a lot of power, and it's quite an awkward style. He bounces on his toes and sort of springs in. So that's why, we've had to get the likes of, as Chris said earlier, Sharif Musa. He's a good sparring partner. We actually had Boatsi. One person he didn't mention, we had some rounds of Boatsi as well. We've got Craig Richards and Chevron Clark. So we've had really good rounds. But it is going to be an awkward, jerky style, and he's got a fast right hand, so we're going to have to be aware. And I think he's going to have to break him down on the jab. But every fight at this level, or even before this level, poses a threat. You got a guy who's 14 stone 4, and by the time they walk in the ring, they're probably closer to 15 stone. So, they're generating power, and if you one mistake, and it can be all the hard work over, really. So we got to stay switched on and get through next Saturday night.
You mentioned the fast right hand. I'm assuming that's what you like about his style. What threat? Have you been working on that in training to evade that sort of?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, exactly. It's one of the shots that it's hard to defend against as well. I mean, like it's hard to defend against the right hand. It's hard to slip it. Best thing to do is step back. But yeah, of course. I mean, that's why we've got. I mean, Craig Richards has got a really underrated right hand. So we've had today he sparred with Craig and Sharif. So we had the speedy right hand from Craig, and then we had the sort of height and intensity from Sharif. So he's going to be well prepared. Much better prepared than he was against Chamberlain, as he mentioned before.
Yeah, and finally, Armin's slightly younger than Chris. Do you feel Chris's age and experience will be too much for his opponent?
Yeah, I mean, like Chris has got no miles on the clock. He's 32, he's turned 32, but he's a fresh athlete, as it was, and he lives the life. And I feel, certain people peak at certain times in their life, and Chris is really coming into his own. He's really starting to peak. He's matured as a person as well. So, but I don't feel like age is going to be like a factor, or like in Chris's favor or against him. It's just one of those things, really. I mean, like they're both fresh. They both haven't had many fights. So yeah, I think Ahmed's had like 14 and 2, I think it is. So 16 fights, and Chris has had 18. So both fresh, really, as it were.
Yeah. Okay, brilliant. Cheers, Shane.
Thank you.
Hi, Shane. You mentioned there the styles for Chris that you think favour him, but as I was just speaking to him, a couple of the titles look like they'll be off bounds for at least a year, so it really leaves only the WBC and WBA route. Just wonder if you've looked at the other top contenders to try and get a final eliminator to force it. How would you say see him against Dorticos, Badu Jack, maybe Mkunu, someone like that?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like Badu Jack's not really in the position to be fighting up at cruiserweight. I think he's kind of at the end of his career. I don't see him fighting for a world title at cruiserweight. Whereas Dorticos, obviously, I mean, he's had quite a long layoff as well. So it's a very good fight. He's always given a fantastic account of himself. But you got Masterneck as well. That's up there as well. So I mean, we've got fights that we can take. That if Optay has got a voluntary on the next one, and he's pretty keen to come over to the UK. I'm sure. I think he fancies his chances against Chris. His confidence is riding extremely high. Just beating Marius Breda. So I have a feeling we are going to be fighting for a world title in the next one. Like we got a 2-fight deal with Boxer, and we've stipulated that we want this world title fight. So yeah, let's hope that we can get it made. But if nothing comes off, then it's got to be someone like a Masterneck. Masternek's, I think, is like 1 or 2 in the IBF as well, so really highly ranked. So yeah, we can either do box for a final eliminator.
And just on Daniel, a lot of pundits have said that the WBA title may now be an albatross round his neck, because if you look at the rankings, guys like Hunter, Bakoli, Makhmudov, they're all lining up, and they're wondering, is he ready for them?
Well, time will tell, won't it? I mean, the WBA, I mean, like, there's got some good names in that ranking, but I mean, Michael Hunter's got a great win over Martin Bakoli, but there's miles on his clock, and I think I would love a big fight from like a Dylan White fight. I keep saying it. I said it after the last one against Trevor Bryant, and we'll say it again. And that's maybe someone like Dylan looked at Daniel before, thinking that there was nothing really to gain from it. He's boxed Povetkin, AJ, Fury. He's boxed those big names, but obviously Chisora a couple of times as well. So he might have looked at it as not a massive, not a massive reward if he'd have won. Whereas, he might look at him now thinking, like in terms of before risk reward. Whereas he might be looking now thinking, that's a winnable fight for him, and hopefully he does, because we need a breakout fight like that. You got those potential banana skins of Kevin Loreno. Like Kevin Loreno he's got fast hands. He was looking great in the last year. He was in the best form of his career. Knocked out Bogdan Danu, and he obviously dropped Marius Wack a few times, and there was nothing really to gain from that for us. And obviously he knocked him out and he won the fight. But we want something. We want recognition. If he does go in there from now on, we need to get the recognition. We need the name so that Daniel can excel his career.
Mm-hmm. And on Adam, we all know about his talent. Is he already beyond British level? And if so, would you look as high as the top 20 or 30 in the world? Maybe say a washed up former world title challenger, that sort of opponent who could actually hang around for more than a few rounds.
Well, no, he's not past domestic level yet. He's only just beaten Ryland Charlton. So we need to we need to fight some domestic level guys. I'd like the likes of Sam Maxwell is a great fight for him. I would love that fight next. You've got the likes of good people like Lucas Ballingall. He's the English champion, but we know that he'll give rounds. Even Ray Moylet or someone like that is decent for rounds, but he needs a few more acid tests at this level before kicking on. But we will go Commonwealth sort of route, potentially European route, and then before we fight those former world champions, because unfortunately they cost more money, and they'll be coming over asking for a lot more money, and it's great for the TV audience, but it's also it's more costly. So we'll prove our worth a little bit more before we kick on to that level.